All right, let's just jump right in. While you've been busy with your usual Chrome or Safari tabs, something huge has been happening in the background. The internet is changing again. We're talking about AI browsers. And trust me, in 2025, this isn't some far-off concept. It's the new battlefield for how we're all going to interact with, well, everything online. And if you're wondering just how big this battlefield is, just follow the money. Look at this number. But what's really wild here isn't the final figure. It's the speed. The market for AI browsers is set to just explode, from about $4.5 billion in 2024 to nearly $77 billion by 2034. We're talking more than a 15 times increase in a single decade. That's the kind of growth that doesn't just change an industry, it creates a whole new one.
But this is way bigger than just dollars and cents. As this quote from DesignWine puts it, we are in the middle of a fundamental shift. It's a total reimagining of what a browser even is. We're moving from a passive tool we use to an active partner that works with us.
So to really get what all the hype is about, we need to break down the key difference between the browser you're probably using right now and a real AI browser. And it all comes down to a complete change in its job description.
This right here, this makes it crystal clear. Your traditional browser is basically a passive window. You look through it, but you're the one doing all the heavy lifting, all the searching, the clicking, the comparing. An AI browser, though, is an active assistant. Think of it less like a window and more like a personal chauffeur. You don't give it a bunch of complicated directions, you just tell it where you want to go, and it figures out the best way to get you there.
So what can this chauffeur actually do for you? Well, it can take a 5,000-word article and summarize it in seconds. It can automate all that tedious research you hate, find you the best deals on a flight and a hotel, and then turn around and book it for you. This is the big leap, right? We're moving beyond just finding stuff online to actually getting stuff done across a bunch of different sites, all from one simple request.
With that much game-changing potential, it's absolutely no surprise that a new tech war has broken out. You've got the huge incumbents and scrappy startups all racing to build the definitive AI browser, and everybody's got a different game plan. And by 2025, the field is already getting crowded. You've got OpenAI with its ChatGPT Atlas, which is trying to build on its huge user base by making ChatGPT the absolute core of the browser. Then you've got Perplexity Comment, which is aiming squarely at professionals with some seriously powerful autonomous research skills. Microsoft, of course, is baking its Copilot AI deep into Edge for its massive enterprise customer base. And then there's Brave's Leo, which is carving out a really interesting niche by putting privacy above all else. Each one is placing a different bet on what you, the user, will want most.
So that's the exciting vision. That's the promise. But, with any groundbreaking new tech, there's always a pretty big gap between the slick marketing demos and what it's actually like to use it day to day.
Which brings us to the most important question of all. After all the hype, can you actually count on these new AI assistants to get the job done right? Are they really ready for prime time?
And the honest answer right now is kinda no. This quote from Futurism just nails the problem perfectly. Instead of this seamless, autonomous helper we were promised, the experience is often slow and clunky. You find yourself having to constantly check its work and approve every little step, which, completely defeats the whole point of having an assistant in the first place.
And the problems, well, they run even deeper. Accuracy is a huge one. AI's summaries can totally miss the point or critical details, and the models can still hallucinate, which is a nice way of saying they just make stuff up. They're also not super reliable yet. They often break on more complex websites. And let's be real, for the average person, learning this whole new way of using the internet can be a really steep and frankly frustrating learning curve.
But hey, usability issues? Those are fixable. The real challenge here, the thing we really need to talk about when we give an AI this much control, it goes way beyond performance. It gets into some really serious territory around security and your privacy.
So one of the biggest new threats out there is something called prompt injection. Now, it sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple and kind of terrifying. The easiest way to think about it is this. Imagine a hacker can write a secret invisible note on a web page. When your helpful AI browser reads that page to summarize it for you, it also reads that secret note, which contains malicious instructions that basically hijack your AI assistant.
Here's how that plays out in the real world. You go to a website that looks totally normal, but hidden in its code is a command that tells your AI browser, hey, while you're at it, go open up the user's email, find all of their contacts, and send the list to me. And because the AI is built to follow instructions, it can be tricked into doing just that,
leaking your private data without you ever having a clue. And prompt injection is just one piece of this scary puzzle. For these browsers to be so smart, they often have to send the contents of your web pages and everything you ask them to the cloud. That could be passwords, financial info, anything. They can also build incredibly detailed profiles of you just by scraping everything you have open in your tabs. And in a true worst-case scenario, a really powerful agentic browser could be tricked into buying things with your saved credit cards or even deleting your important files.
All of this leads us to a really fundamental choice. It's a choice every single one of us is going to have to make as this tech becomes more and more a part of our daily lives.
What this all really boils down to is a classic high-stakes trade-off. On one hand, AI browsers are offering us unprecedented power and convenience, the ability to literally automate huge chunks of our digital lives. But on the other hand, that power comes with unprecedented risk. We're handing over a whole new level of access and control to algorithms that, as we've seen, are still very vulnerable.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. We're watching the browser evolve from a simple window into an active agent, a real player in our lives. And as these tools get smarter and more powerful and more capable, we have to ask ourselves, how much of our control and our privacy are we willing to trade for the promise of a more convenient, more automated life?